Lucky you!
Best 36 holes in golf.
You tuned in to Alternate Shots Podcast,
Marnie's Army.
where we talk about golf,
Barkeys, Sandy's,
poker,
Bond, James Bond.
horse racing,
I'm all in.
great movies.
Alfred Hitchcock.
We have no script.
And down the stretch they come.
We're glad you joined us.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Whoop, let's start again.
Ever there was a person more deserving of luck, it would have to be Tom Neaporti.
Yeah, I think about how lucky I am to be playing here. You got me laughing here now.
I love this. Look at him.
Oh my gosh, I can't talk for a minute.
Oh, that's a great laugh.
Being outdoors and having a good mental attitude and raising 9 children and now 25 grandchildren. Oh, but boy, how lucky can you be?
That's it.
I'm going to ask you to do one thing. You
Yes,
got a pair of fours. Somebody raises you, and you decide to call the raise. Flop comes. You ready? Yep. Gonna flop comes 4, 4, 10. Let me see your face. Oh my God! It looked like you just got audited.
A song, that is very. I don't say that it reminds us who we are, and we sing among ourselves that song, and it came true that because that song was very trying to tell us more or less that you're not walking the last mile and play. To make it short, the song is that you're not walking the last mile, and don't ever say that you're walking the last mile.
Who won? Photo? Who was the photo? I'm sure glad I decided not to bet.
You didn't bet? I would have had a heart attack.
That's why I only bet $2 on the longest shot there is, so I don't get my heart broke.
Why is it on so long?
I quit drinking. The photo sign went off. They got a winner.
The winner of today's first race,
My God, Trotter! It's official, you won!
Blurred Image, and third, number 2, Dream Roadblock.
He really likes me.
First race, 1 minute, 36.
Times 28.40, you're rich!
And the result
That official?
That official?
I can't believe I didn't bet that! What wonderful people!
I'd hate to have to walk around this joint with $700 cash.
710, and you'll never have that problem, because the only reason I won is that you didn't bet. You are the unluckiest person in the world. Am not.
Carson's Run is a real gentle teddy bear compared to Keen Ice. So there's different spectrums of horses. Anyway.
You've been around the block a
Breeders' Cup.
couple times, Steve. Who's got a better behind, Kim Kardashian or Carson's Run? Come on, I was looking at the back end of your horse. That's something.
Carson's Run's behind is all natural, Bob. All natural.
Yeah, but he might not make as much money with it as she does.
Morning quiet, and we got the whole course when the first one's off and whatnot. And I said, Mr. Moran, I'm out with you every Saturday and Sunday with my papa. I said, if you listen to me, I think you could have your best score. I said, but you got to listen to me every shot. And he goes, all right, we'll give it a shot. So one less, what he would do is hit driver. They weren't that good and they weren't that long. So he'd hit driver 3-wood into that bunker every single time. In that bunker 50 yards short of the green, then he'd fat it, then he'd scull it over the green, and he'd make 7. So he hits a beautiful drive right down the middle, and he goes, okay, I give him the 6-iron. He goes, what are you doing? He goes, I can't get home with that. And I said, well, you can't get home with 3-wood either. The best you can do is hit it in that front bunker. So he hits 6-iron, short of the bunker, hits a 9-iron on the green and makes a putt. First time he ever barred the hole. So the guy shoots 88. First time he ever broke 90 in his life. And we had a blast. He was going nuts. And he goes, back then $8 was your typical, it was your typical loop. So he goes, I'm going to give you $1 for every age you are. How old are you, Bobby? And I said 50.
I got Gene Sarazan. really shocked me is how big a follow through he could get. And it, you know, when I was talking with him during the round, he said, I always tried to hit it with my right side. The first part of his downswing looked like he was coming over the top, but it was because he got such a good turn on the backswing. You know, they said the same thing about Sam Snead.
Everything started for the Harmon family that day is Craig Wood told me that when he hired Dad, he asked my dad, what type of player you want to be? And he said, well, I want to be like you. And we called him Uncle Craig. And Uncle Craig said, well, the way you hold on to the club and that snap hook you hit, you won't get out of Westchester County. And so my dad, which was true, he said, well, I love the game. I'll do whatever it takes. And Craig Wood said, yeah, well, a lot of people say that, but when the improvement doesn't come right away, they'll retreat back to what feels good. And he said, your father got mad at me and said, I'll do what it takes. And so he did do what it took. He always told us that Craig taught him how to swing, and he changed his swing, and Hogan taught him how to play. Because when they played at Seminole back in the 40s, when Hogan would go down there for the month before the Masters, they played a game where you threw $10 in the hat if you missed a fairway or missed a green. So when you play that game with Ben Hogan, you better be pretty good.
My first lesson at Wingfoot. This is a funny story because I was standing in the shop. It was April, but it was snowing. It was really cold. You know me, I don't like the cold weather. And I'm in the shop and Mr. Forsman comes in. And he said, I heard that we hired a new assistant professional. And I said, that's me. Alicia Divos, nice to meet you. And he goes, are you ready to give a lesson? And I said, Mr. Forsman, it's snowing outside. And he goes, don't you have a jacket? I said, yes, I do. So I gave my first lesson to Mr. Forsman on the range, and I was freezing.
Well, I guess Billy had enough of me winning holes, because he started out, you know, he's winning holes and I'm not worried, and then he's winning another hole and I'm starting to get worried. And then he's winning and winning and winning, and we get to the 18th hole. East course, and we get to the 18th hole, and I'm one up. So I am, as Claude used to call it, I'm spewing Con Ed all over the place, choking my brains out. And I'm also mad as hell. I said, I can't let this match go. And so we both drive in the fairway on 18, and I think we're just a little over Lynchy's Hill, that little rise in the fairway. I think I go first. Anyway, I'm really strung out. Pins on the left side, very close to that trap. And I pull this, whatever iron, dead left. And I go, oh boy, couldn't have hit it in a worse spot. Billy hits it on the green, you know, about 25 feet or so. And as I told Billy later, he said, I didn't beat you. I didn't have that hole. That was your father. Because Claude was famous for having this flop shot. Now, the only way I could have gotten that ball anywhere near the hole on the green and not have it run all the way to the other side was to hit this flop shot. And I just said, well, it's either now or never. And so I hit it to about 4 feet and somehow made that putt and have the hole with Billy, and I won the match.
Here was Louise Suggs' quote about golf. Golf is like a love affair. If you don't take it seriously, it's no fun. If you do take it seriously, it breaks your heart.
I think you got to care just enough. I don't think you can care, you know, if you care too much, and that may have been my issue. When I finally got, you know, I was playing the mini tours for all those years, and then like I said, we won on the Korn Ferry Tour, and then got up onto the PGA Tour. It was me, myself, and my game 24/7, and it consumed me. And it got to a point where the more you want something, the harder you work at something, the harder it becomes. And I use the phrase with my team a lot. When kids are struggling and they're trying to find things, you know, it reminds you of when you're a kindergartner, preschooler, and you're trying to jam that square peg into that round hole, and it just won't go. And you just keep fighting it, pounding it, and screaming and yelling. And it's like, dude, just take a deep breath, chill out, think about a minute, calm down, and put the square peg in the square hole and the round peg in the round hole, and you're fine. You know, and that's kind of what I think you're maybe referencing to. It's when you care, it's a whole different ball game, and then you have to care just enough. You can't care too much.
Well, it's not just one individual coach. And David Young is a guy I've known for a long time. Played a lot of golf against David. These coaches that they have access to are coaches that are coaching football teams. I mean, Justin Thomas and Nick Saban are buddies. You don't think Saban has passed along some of his wisdom to JT? Well, Justin's dad, Mike Thomas, is a PGA professional. And as good a coach as he is, he's not a coach like Nick Saban is a coach. Yeah, he may know a golf swing a whole lot better, but I would argue that Saban's experience is pretty elite.
I just scheduled my days to maximize my ability to get better and to catch up to these other kids. So I'll wake up around 6 o'clock, do a 30-minute stretch session, and that's either followed by a workout or on a day that I'm not working out, I'll go in the ice bath, get my body ready to go for the day to come, and then I'll get to the course around 7:30. And then normally I'll practice, say, 4 hours of short game, 3 hours of swing work, and then I'll go out and play. So in total, it's about a 10-hour day of on-course practice, and that's from 8 o'clock to 6 p.m. would be a pretty solid day. And then I'll come home, do a little cool down stretch, eat, and get to sleep. And I've been that's on a really good week for me. So this week I'm prepping for Q school, and there's no distractions, right? I'm in bed by 8:30 and I'm up by 6, and I kind of just keep that door revolving, and every day is a new day, but just trying to get that a little bit better every day.
Your swing is so darn consistent.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's kind of been refined through a lot of those years I talked about on mini tours and stuff. I'm not a big guy. I'm not the longest hitter, so I have to be maybe a little more consistent than other guys. And, my iron play is very important for me, and obviously chipping and putting. But, I try and keep it as simple as possible, and the less moving parts you have in your swing, the less can go wrong.
That's 26 now? Wow. Eric Cole on the tee at the 13th. Yeah, just love the way he swings the golf club.
Yeah, I was just thinking that in total balance.
When I was 8 years old, the pro at Simon Roy Country Club, Tom Kerrigan, gave me a Patty Berg driver, sawed-off Patty Berg driver. It was my first golf club.
My clubs were Patty Berg Wilson, first clubs ever.
They did exhibitions, I suppose, from time to time.
Oh yeah, clinics. The pro that helped me get started in golf also one time invited me to go over to Lincoln Park in Oklahoma City and watch something. It was Patty Berg giving a clinic. And, she was laughing up a storm, taking her hat and turning it one way for a slice and the other way for a hook and stuff. And I actually said to this pro, UC Ferguson, I said, "That's what golf's about?" I said, "She's having a lot of fun."
Must have been fairly easy to shag for Hogan. I mean, the balls couldn't have been that far from each other.
Well, anybody that's ever done that would totally agree. They would certainly tell you that it wasn't really a job. There were instances when that job became a job. So that's a story in and of itself. But yes, it was not hard. I was talking to Michael Breed the other day, and he was talking about wanting to caddy for Hogan, and he would love to have done that. And I told him, I said that's not really much of a job, because he's not a Jordan Spieth type guy. All you have to do is just carry the bag and clean the club. He's not going to ask you to do anything. Read putts, give him yardage, nothing. So as long as you don't drop the bag, there's really not much to do.
They really didn't know what it was then, Bob. It was, they went to Mayo Clinic, and he always told a story about how his father, my grandfather, Fred, who worked at Harding Park and was kind of his guide over the years, and he never really said anything. My dad, complimenting him, or just was always pretty tough on him. But he was driving him to the airport that day to take him to Mayo Clinic for his operation, and my dad said, to my grandfather. He goes, Dad, he goes, I don't know if I may never play again. They're going to cut me open. I don't know, I may never play. And my grandfather said, it doesn't matter, son. And he said, well, what do you mean it doesn't matter? He says, you were the best I ever saw.
So you wouldn't care if all your members threw a few clubs down and no, they would go get them. So your dad, and what do you feel it in your legs? I feel it in my right leg, and now if I got through this head, like this head was gonna come off, I'm gonna throw this club head. I'm gonna throw this club.
That's what we were brought up. I tell people all the time that our father, I always thought Dad was kind of an uneducated genius. He just saw the world through a different lens. And he would tell us that when you work with a good player, figure out why their swing works, not what's wrong with it. Because they wouldn't be good if they had a bad swing.
Play golf and meet the nicest people. I got lucky. I found my mother gave me a lot of great values and things. And my wife and the kids. I'm lucky. If you can treat them nicely, they're going to treat you back.
That's it.
I'm having a very good day.
Why are you laughing?
Well, at least we have the laugh to add at the end.
Right. We've gone from 12 handicaps at this to 19 handicaps in just a week.
That's what happened. Somebody changed my grip, and the next thing you know, I can't do the podcast anymore. I felt like I was in the first row of the first pew at church right during the sermon.
And your brother was poking
my
you.
My brother was making me laugh.
Thanks for joining us today.
Billy Harmon.
We really appreciate your
Double
feedback.
Indemnity.
And please subscribe to the
Two
show.
outer.
Hit them
Odd
hard
job.
and hit them off.
That's 36 holes.